What makes you feel this comfortable coming in here and saying stuff like this?
It does make me a little nervous that, people are going to see this. I've been kicked out of that bar indefinitely for costing them money. Indefinitely for costing them money.
Well, how did you cost them money?
Because their sex ring had to stop. The pedophile went to prison.
The interview you're about to watch was recorded back in Pride Month, June 2025. The guest you will see today had the balls to speak up months ago on some pretty controversial topics, and I failed to notice the urgency. We kept this discussion pretty light, but shit has changed. After the assassination of Charlie Kirk, the greatest free speech advocate of our time, I have asked my guest to come back and discuss things further and more in depth. So I hope you stick around this channel to watch and interact. So please welcome our first Misfit, Calvin Smith. Actually, I'm really wanting to tonight just see where we come together and where we don't, and understand that it's okay when we don't, but we can actually agree on a lot of things.
Right.
So my first question for you is, did you vote for Donald Trump?
I did vote for Donald Trump.
Okay, so the focus a lot on Kamala was, though, the policies put forward by her and, her team favored the LGBTQ plus community and offered them, I guess, more protections or whatever. That was kind of a big deal. So why would Trump be the better choice for you?
I just feel like she was just letting too much stuff slide during the Biden reign of things and vice president that. And I just feel like that she was not doing a well job then. So to put her in longer, I felt like was just going to put us further into jeopardy as a country in debt. I feel like as a country, it's more about the whole picture. As far as LGBTQ community goes, we're just a small fraction of that. Back in the day, we didn't mind hiding in the closet and being able to live our lives just the way we lived our lives. And throughout that whole process of Kamala and Biden and the, COVID and everything and being woke, all this stuff was it just got really chaotic and crazy. It was costing us more money as a country. We got more immigration in. There's so much that was happening underneath of that. And sadly, I kind of have to disagree with our smaller communities, and we just got to really think about the bigger picture and what's better for our country and for everyone, not just my little community.
Some communities feel like Trump's policies restrict the artistic expression, like drag, which you do. How do you balance your support for him with concerns of those who feel, I guess, targeted? I guess a lot of people feel targeted by this, but how do you feel about that?
I feel like a lot of what they're trying to put restrictions on, I guess, and different things it's really about protecting kids and children. It's your choice as a parent what you expose your kid to, but it's also your job as the parent to make sure that you're making the best decisions for them to grow into an adult, healthy life. And I can tell you now, as an adult and being out here in the community and being part of the community here, you definitely want to be an adult first, because if you enter this community with an immature mindset or with a mindset of I've got all these problems, there's so many people that are going to work that on you and work that against you, and you're not even going to realize it at first.
As far as doing drag, now you told me you used to get paid.
Yes.
But things have kind of shifted here.
They have.
Could you explain a little bit more as to what happened? Because you were making buku bucks, you were shaking your thing, you were doing your thing, and then all of a sudden, what changed this? What happened?
Well, there was a couple different things. So I'm going to start at when I won my first city title.
Okay.
I was Miss Indianapolis Diamond Dolls. My biggest thing with wanting to have a crown and everything was recognition, because it gave me opportunities, open doors, and I wanted to work with kids more closely. I wanted to work with them more in a positive manner, not so much of look at these lingeries, if that makes sense. It's more like look at this costume kind of thing.
Yes.
Be a little bit more conservative. So I wanted to work with kids throughout my reign, and they kept blocking me throughout the whole time, and I did not understand why I was being blocked and why things weren't working out. About 3 weeks till the end of my reign, I got contacted by my pageant owners, and they had let me know that they were going to have to let me go because apparently I was a transphobe. Now, I've never been a transphobe my whole life. I will always support anybody however they feel. But that put a bad light on me. They tried to kick me out of the pageant system. So while I was fighting this battle, the third party owner of my pageant, of my crown, they had contacted me with information on one of the other original two owners with documentation, proof as to one of the two was a child molester, and he was actually registered in every state around Indiana except for Indiana. So I had turned that in. That brought in a whole sex ring thing that was going on. It brought in a lot of light to what was going on at a specific bar, and it was all happening under the majority of the people that worked there's nose. And so once all this got exposed, the person ended up in prison.
Okay, so he is locked up.
He is locked up.
Okay.
His significant other has talked trash about me for the last couple years, which is fine. I mean, if you're angry, say what you're angry about, get it off your chest, because Lord knows it doesn't do any good to keep it all in. But that kind of, when we were getting closer and closer to election, between that working against me, I got kicked out of the bar. I've been kicked out of that bar indefinitely for costing them money. Indefinitely for costing them money.
Well, how did you cost them money?
Because their sex ring had to stop. The pedophile went to prison. Like, I am still to this day still kicked out of this bar. And it's been 2 years.
And
over words. No fighting, no nothing. The only thing it was over was words, and there was proof in the pudding. And now here we are. I voted for Trump. That made me even worse, because then, he's a transphobe, so now you're a transphobe because you voted that way. No, I'm actually trying to help us out. There's so many people on food stamps and different things, and these trans people are trying to get their stuff done, but they can't get their stuff done. Take care of themselves, because we're setting out so much for the foreigners to have their money and to do their transitions and to come here to do that stuff. So cutting all the funding and cutting all the stuff was a great idea, because we're giving all our money to the wrong people.
Right.
I like a tattoo just like the next person likes a tattoo. And I have no problem if somebody wants a set of titties. It's a body modification, by all means. You're still not a woman.
You're still not a woman.
Still not a woman.
Yeah.
Being too outrageous, I guess, is another big thing that a lot of straight people have a hard time with, because, I mean, some of these trans girls, they're beyond Dolly Parton.
Yeah, little much.
Little much. They're out here wearing fishnets and at a park.
Okay.
So yeah, between that and calling out a pedophile and me voting for Trump has kind of just put any work that I would like to do as a drag queen or for the community in a positive light. It's just not going to happen right away and right now. And that's fine. Like, everybody gets their time to shine. I've had my time to shine.
Do you have allies with you though that also feel the same way that you do?
Not in the gay community, I don't. Sadly. I know that there are a few. They're just more scared to talk about things because
See, that's what I was
cancel
thinking,
being canceled. Like I'm
yeah,
still friends with a lot of gay people, and they all know exactly where my views are.
yeah.
And there are some that are trans, there are some that are men, there are some that are trans men. So it's all different, like walks of life of people I'm still friends with. They're just not going to be overly publicly like, oh, I'm best friends with Calvin. You know what I mean? Or
Sucks.
or when it comes to the circle wanting to talk shit, well, they're gonna jump in because they don't want to be put into a bad light. Because once you're in that bad light, you're sitting right where I'm sitting. But you know what? I've not let that keep me from putting on my face, going out, doing karaoke, doing the free things that I can do, talking to people, letting them know it's okay to be expressive of yourself. Just don't expect other people to be there on the same page with you because Lord knows they weren't 20 years ago and we were just fine.
Breaks my heart to think that people aren't speaking their minds. Just we're in a world where getting canceled is such a horrifying thing,
It
you
really
know?
is.
And people make their livelihoods from especially online content and their appearances in public, and you have to cater to people constantly rather than just letting you be you. And that's kind of the big thing that kind of drove me to you because you ain't afraid. You don't
No,
say
you can't be scared. You cannot be scared to express your opinion because you have one. We all have one.
what makes you feel this comfortable coming in here and saying stuff like this.
Well, you need someone like me to be able to say it, first of all. And it does make me a little nervous that, people are going to see this, but at the same time, maybe it might put a little bit more perspective on not focusing so much on your own circle, but focusing that there are a lot of other circles that connect with yours.
So, how do you feel about the controversy of misgendering and pronouns and stuff like that? Because I have called you, I have called you dude and all sorts of things all the time. And I don't know if you have your pronouns. I honestly never even asked. So,
Well, I do appreciate it. It is very polite to ask pronouns. It is. And I know everybody wants to be as respectful as they can be. Now, that being said, you can't automatically assume that somebody is going to be like, oh, well, that's a lady. If you look like a man, you walk like a man, you talk like a man, kind of like a duck, they quack. It's the duck, it's a man. I really hate to say it that way, and I know a lot of people might be
feel
hurt
that.
by that, but
Yeah.
this is real life. These are real things happening. I'm not
You
worried
know,
about hurting your feelings when the people down the street from me are worried about if their father's going to be deported
yeah.
while their little girl, she was born here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I can't focus on your illness or your mental problem or whatever it might be with yourself that you might have. That's something you got to work out yourself, and that's something you probably should have already worked out by yourself by now.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're a young person and you're a kid, you need to be a kid first of all.
See see, that's kind of the thing is that a lot of the feelings that I had when I was a child, I was I was a bit of a tomboy. I
Yeah,
was just always I mean, I was like, I wanted to be one of the boys, and I wanted to dress like the boys, and I had this whole big phase, and even after I hit puberty, I was super awkward. I was
yeah,
still super awkward, but, my mother's just like, "Oh, you're such a tomboy," and that was the gist of it.
right,
So
right.
so, as far as kids just being kids, we just need to let them be kids, right?
Yep. My dad let me go out and do cartwheels in the yard. He probably wanted me to go, play football with some friends, but I was out in the yard doing cartwheels, listening to my NSYNC, doing my Britney Spears tack up
Oh my
dancing.
god, instinct, yeah.
Right? I tell you what, those were the days. And
Yes, they were.
I feel like if everything that was going on the last 8 years was going on when I was growing up, I would not be the person I am today. I would
Absolutely.
not have been able to do as I've been doing the last 10 and 15 years, taking care of things. Like, if I would have let my life be screwed up way back then, which is a shitty thing to say, some people are not going to like that. But if I would have let my own life be shitty back then and catered to, and had everybody catering to my feelings and, oh, treat Calvin like this, and I would not be who I am. So I'm very proud to be a feminine man.
Yeah.
I'm very proud to be a he, him. And when I dress up, if you call me my wrong name, that is fine.
Oh, speaking of, putting your face on, you were getting
Yeah.
ready for a pride parade last
Yeah,
week.
yeah. I did Greenwood Pride this last weekend. It was a lot of fun, good turnout. This next weekend is Indianapolis Pride. I'll be in the parade there, and then I'll be down at the festival itself, covering the Step Up tent. Step Up's an organization that deals with prevention and testing with the LGBT community. Indianapolis Damien Center. Definitely good programs through them. Definitely recommend if you're having those kind of LGBT issues, go through and find Step Up, find the Damien Center, and start working on yourself.
So you were doing a booth, right?
Yeah, yep,
You were focused on STD prevention and
yep.
giving that, I guess, helping educate people.
Yeah, education, prevention, and treatment. We offer treatment there too.
Okay, so do you think that people respond well to these booths, or is it kind of like a walk by, like they
So,
know?
unless you are being vocal about your organization, you will probably be walked by. Myself
Okay.
personally, I'm using my drag to draw on that attention. I actually kind of got into a small little confrontation with a couple of the drag queens that were actually working the show of Pride while I was over at my booth volunteering, and that they were just kind of laughing and kind of whatever. And I kind of met them halfway around the circle, and I was like, "Was there something funny that I did, or were you guys just laughing because you seen me?" And one was like, "Well, I just think it's pathetic. You're out here volunteering your time just so you could put a face on." And I'm like, "I think it's pretty pathetic. You can't put clothes on to go dance in front of those kids either, but you're being paid and I'm volunteering." So while you're over there getting paid and shaking your ass inappropriately, I'm going to
Yeah.
stand over here at the booth and I'm going to teach kids about prevention. And I'm going to teach kids about not gyrating to make a dollar.
Did you see a lot of gyrating in front of the children? Did you see a lot of in this specific parade? Now I've seen some online where it's been pretty explicit, and is that kind of what you experience at these?
So the last few years, Prides has actually started to get a little bit more where people are actually wearing clothes. I know at one point in time, it was to the severity of men wearing thongs and see-through underwear, and women's not wearing a top, claiming they're men with their tits hanging out. And there was a lot of these things going on, and they were using their transgenderism as the excuse as to why they could show their bodies off like this. Um, the first and only year that I ever took my kids to a Pride thing was the same year I won my title. I got to walk. I got to ride the float, but I chose, instead of riding the float, to walk with my family behind the float because I'm not the other queens that are on that float. I'm not like those other queens on that float. I wanted to represent something different of myself by having my family with me. But it was kind of embarrassing when I've got, at that time they're 13 and 14 years old, and they're like, "Did you see that guy's underwear? I saw everything." And 13 and 14 years old, for us back in the day, we didn't say nothing.
No, we were
But 13 and 14 years old these days, they see it, they're going to talk about it. And sadly, they've seen plenty, and they definitely had lots of questions when we got home.
that had to be really awkward.
It is. It is very awkward because, that's a community that I also help to represent. And that's my face stamped there just as well as anybody else's, regardless of how conservative I dress or how much I stay covered up and stay in costume. My face is going to be there because of what everybody else has done. It's kind of like when, um, sorry, when African American people go into a store and riot and raid it. Well, now the rest of the African American people, they look like they're these people too. And they're not. They're not. There are good people and bad people, no matter what race you're in.
Absolutely.
And it just sucks so bad that these festivals let them go so far. Now, like I said, this year has been a little bit better. Some of the costumes could have been a little longer. Some of them could have been a little less revealing, like the see-throughness on some of the costumes. But at least most of what I've seen this year was costumes.
So how did your children react after you talked to them about it? Like, what was kind of the conversation like?
Well,
How did they react to it?
given the time with everything going on and the trans movement and everything else, like my youngest, my 13-year-old, she was very trans feeling back then. And we called her Eli, and I did everything I could to support her. But I told her, I'm not taking you to a doctor to change anything. I'm not taking you to go get any surgeries. These are all things that if you decide when you're an adult that you would like to do, that is something you should do for you then, not for my validation of being the supportive parent.
Transing the kids is kind of a big thing. That was one of the big things that made people start to speak out because what adults do, we typically didn't care. It was all done in the background. Nobody really cared. And then all of a sudden, it was hormone treatments in children. It was it was changing these kids don't even know what they're interested in yet. They barely even know the toys they like at this point. You know,
Right.
be it Barbie or GI Joe back in our day.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is this day. But we had no idea. I like to play with all of them.
Right.
So,
Right.
but that's when people really started to have an issue with this whole movement. It was no longer about, hey, we're different or we're gay or whatever it was to, well, let's just change the sex of children. Like, when did this jump happen? I like woke up
It
one
was
day
just,
and I was
I
like,
really
"Whoa."
feel like it was just a power thing.
Do you think it was just a power push or?
I really do. I really do. It was a way for the LGBT community to indoctrinate a larger community for themselves that was growing into the population.
Do you think they just got a little too ambitious?
I really do. I really do. Because I mean, like you were saying, you can't just push those things out. You got to educate your kids. It's okay to be a lesbian and it's okay to be gay. And if you want to body mod later in life. You can't get a tattoo before 18. So why should you get tits? Why should you have your tits cut off?
Absolutely. And but to say that sounds ludicrous to these people. Like, some people are just like,
Oh,
how
I
could you say
know.
that? They need to decide. They need to figure it out for themselves right now when they're freaking 9. Like, what are you talking about?
No, they've got their whole life to figure themselves out. I'm still figuring myself out.
I was yeah, I'm getting close to 40 now and I'm still pretty confused on what I'm
Same.
doing with my own
Same. Same. Like I've got a good picture on what I want to do, but
Yeah.
it's how to get there with how, everything that I go through with my own personal self. I feel like as long as I don't lose myself, then I'm okay.
So how do you feel about the push for, the trans stuff as far as women's sports and
Oh my
about
God.
the locker rooms and even in school?
You know, if you 100% pass as a woman, all dressed and all feminized and
Good
trans,
for you if you could actually like visually deceive us to say that you're a woman. That's great. I'll to that
by all
point.
means. But if you're one of those just obviously out of place in the wrong clothing type of people, you need to understand that that is okay. But don't think you're going to put yourself into a woman's space, such as a bathroom or into women's sports. Well, it's not fair. first of all. We have a division for men.
Yeah.
Go swim with the men. Go run with the men. Even a feminine man can be in first place.
Yes.
In a men's division. There's no reason because he feels like he's feminine. I have to compete with the women. Well, I'm sorry. You don't have to compete with the women, for one, because they got their own division for them. So to go over there is to just be like in that mindset of, oh, why automatically you're going to win.
That's what's bad is
That's like going into a bar as a trans woman who passes. Let's say it's one of those kind of bars where people just hook up. You know, maybe it's just a seating bar. I don't know if you've ever heard about seating. It's all about women getting pregnant. They don't care who they're pregnant by.
Is that a thing?
It's a thing. It's a thing.
Okay, I need to know about this.
That would be like a trans woman going into a seating thing for women, sitting in, and then bragging about how they're not going to get pregnant.
What? That's a thing?
It's a thing. Trans women think that way. They think, oh, I'm a woman now, so I can be in the women's division. Put yourself into a woman's situation as to what she's actually trying to accomplish with these men who would like to also prolong their seed. They're in there deceiving, getting all this dick and not getting pregnant and getting more dick and not getting pregnant and getting more dick and not getting pregnant, but getting more dick.
Oh my God. I did not know this was a thing. This is incredible.
So it's like a whole new competition that they have where now they're out here. If I can fool the straight man, I get more dick than the women, then I'm definitely better than a woman. It's wrong.
Yeah, because okay, so
Deception is a very, very big thing in the LGBT community. Just so you know,
yeah.
Deception is a very, very big thing in the community, and they don't even want to acknowledge that there's deception in our community. But the sad part about it is there is.
So okay, so a man who happens to look like a woman, a man walks up and he's like, because I know back in your days, I'm gonna tell you what, you look very womanly.
Thank you, thank you.
And
I do pride myself on my feminine features.
I think we can confirm from me seeing you, you looked very much like a woman. Now, did you at any point like play into that to a point where it became
So there was a time, from the time I was 16 to the time I was 19, I did try to live as a woman.
Okay.
I did portray that I was a woman named Ashley Michelle. I did deceive men. There was a couple times I got caught up, got beat up.
okay?
But you know, like I said, it's just something that it's instilled within a person. I mean, obviously not a person like yourself, and that's not to say anything bad. You're just obviously not a gay person.
Right.
So that wouldn't be something that would be instilled upon you. Just like lesbian women, it's not so much instilled upon them as it is for us gay dudes and us little gayer and our feminine guys. They're like, oh, well, if you're going to be feminine, you got to go all out. You got to be feminine. You got to be a woman if that's what you're going to do. And it was just always that bit for me. And for a few years there, I was really there. And people knew who I was. I mean, I went to school dressed this way. Like, they knew I was Calvin, and they knew I was wearing a dress. But it made me feel good about myself to an extent, but I didn't care if people knew who I was or didn't know who I was. I didn't care if they wanted to call me he or she. It didn't matter.
At what point did that actually start to kind of shift for you, though? Because by the time I met you, you were so comfortable being a man or being a woman. Like it was, like it could trigger, like it was kind of insane. You could be very masculine or you could be very feminine. And it was, so what point did you become comfortable with doing that?
It took a long while. After I stopped doing the cross-dressing thing, I had gotten with a guy named Aaron. That's actually about the times, you met me in that era.
Yeah.
And Aaron had taught me a lot about that it was fine to just be the gay man that I was, and that it was okay to be feminine as long as, I still did what men do. And he didn't have a problem with things. The only thing he had a problem with, I think, was mostly with the dressing up, because, he wanted to be with a man. And he didn't care that I was a feminine man, but he wanted people to know that I was a man, was the
Yeah.
thing. And that was fine with me. Like, I had a good life. I had a man taking care of me. I had my certain holidays and times where I was special for me to be able to dress up. Yes, Halloween, yes. And I had my times where I was able to express myself. And I found a good center with Aaron. It made things so horrible when things didn't work out between the two of us. But I was grateful for the time, because I had time to learn more about myself in my adult years.
Yes. In your adult years, that's very important.
It is very, very important. Very important. Because if you can't figure out ridicule when you're a kid, you're not going to be able to deal with it when you're an adult.
Yeah, absolutely. I was very awkward myself. I got bullied. It helps.
Yeah, but look at you, though. Look at you. You're fabulous. You're shining.
Thank you.
Great smile. Beautiful skin.
Thank you. It was
Of course. Of course.
We had such a great time. It was an incredible conversation. Thank you so much for sharing your story, your heart, and all that just phenomenal energy with us today. It has been a blast for me. I am so grateful for your time and showing me, and hopefully many others, how our paths can cross in very unexpected ways. To
Yes.
everyone watching, if you enjoyed this conversation, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell for more conversations and stories. Cal, you are absolutely a freaking champion. And thank you so much for coming on here with me. And I hope you're back on with me in the future.
I would be more than happy to be back. Who knows? Maybe even some makeup tips.
Oh, I need those. All right. Thank you so much.
For sure. Anytime. Thank you, Jessie.